9th round of the GP4 Offline Championship 2015 season takes place at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, and I am your host for today, George Rock, and welcome back to the OC 2015 season. I am back for this week. I'd like to thank Miklos for filling in for me last week as I had computer issues, but I am back with a new computer and a new microphone, so I am very much looking forward to this race. A little known fact is that there are 8 British drivers in the field for this race that are British, so there's a big home following for those guys. But anyway, more importantly, let's have a look at the track. 52 laps. The lap record set by Wade Cooper, 130.5 back in 2014. 16 corners. We're using, of course, the new layout of Silverstone. Personally, I prefer the old one, but that's just the way it is. The tyres we'll be using for this race will be the hard tyres, and the driver of the day will be given to Robert Ionescu, who finished second and performed impressively last time out. But here is the starting grid for the British Grand Prix. And good news for the British fans, it is a British 1-2 on the front row, with Joseph Willers taking pole position ahead of Will Neller in second. Third and fourth are Jamie McKenzie and Robert Ionescu for Mercedes and Red Bull. Fifth place, an impressive performance by Amar Carr. Sixth place, Nicolas Gal for Red Bull. Seventh place is Florian Volker for Ferrari. Eighth place, Franco Lopez for McLaren. Ninth place is Rick Yan, followed by his teammate Vedran Bedrina in 10th place on row 5. On row 6 of the grid, we have Roman Quag and Roberto Gamba for Williams and Sauber. In 13th position, we have Robert Hunter for Toro Rosso and David Greenwood for Lotus. 15th place, we have Oliver Glazer for McLaren and Evan Byrne for Sauber. 17th place is Franco Gamba for Toro Rosso and 18 Jones for Marussia. On the 10th row of the grid, we have Kirosima de Rosa and Matthias Terwick for Haas and Marussia. And on the last row of the grid, we have Bartius Kloss and George Roque for Lotus. A poor qualifying by him. He will not be happy with about that, or want to make amends in the race, that is for sure. As we are set to look at the rain, and surprisingly enough, there will be no rain with the British Grand Prix, so it will be dry, it will be a sunny day, and there is precisely 0 chance of rain. So, okay, there we go. So now we are on the grid for the start of the British Grand Prix. Who is going to get the jump into the first corners? As we now have 3 lights, 4 lights, and now we have 5 lights. It's a fairly long hold. Longer than the French Grand Prix in real life, and we're underway for the British Grand Prix. And who's going to get the jump coming into the first corner? It looks like Willers has just about got enough of a jump ahead of Neller as they head into the first corner. Does Willers keep it? And it looks like he does, just ahead of Neller as they come through the first corner there. So Willers leads, Neller in second, Jamie McKenzie in third as they come through the first section, heading towards the back straight. As they come through, it looks like, has everyone avoided contact so far? Looks like everyone has so far avoided contact. There's been no issues at all, but Neller is right behind Willers as they're coming into the right. He's trying to make a move, but he can't as they're heading towards Luffield for the first time. Willers just holding on. McKenzie third, Ionescu, Carr, Volker, Yan, Quag, Lopez. There's so many cars coming through, I can't get them quick enough. As it's side by side near the back there, there's Evan Byrne, there's De Rosa, Terwick, Roque, who's moved ahead of Bartius Kloss. But it looks like so far everyone has avoided contact. There's been no collision so far, although Neller's trying to make a move around Joseph Willers, and he does make the move on the first lap, and he takes the lead of the British Grand Prix. What a start for Neller. That's exactly what he wanted. He needs a win. He's yet to win so far this season for Mercedes, and with Florian Volker consistently winning and getting points over his rivals, he needs this badly. But that's a crucial move by Will Neller as he takes lead in the first lap, as we look at Carr in fourth. As we look at Ionescu, who's under pressure from Willers' teammate Florian Volker as they come into Stowe. And does he make the move stick? Ionescu, I think, just about holds it round the outside, and he keeps the position as they head towards the last couple of corners on the track. As you look at, there's Greenwood, there's Gamba. And so far, we've actually gone through the first lap without any contact and any cars going for the pits whatsoever. But that's very interesting. That's never happened before, I don't think. But the end of the first lap is here. Carr is now right behind McKenzie. Will Neller showing his authority by setting the fastest lap, but Carr is right behind McKenzie as they come through what is called the loop here on the Grand Prix circuit. Carr right behind McKenzie. Will he try and make a move coming down the back straight? I think it's the hangar straight, I believe it is. As they come through the left-hander heading down the back straight, will Carr make a move? He's in the slipstream. Is he going to be close enough to make a move? Will McKenzie defend? McKenzie does move out a little bit, but Carr doesn't actually bother going for the move as he comes through left-hander heading towards Luffield as Rick Yan, it's Roman Quag, so he makes a move on Rick Yan, although he goes a little bit wide, Quag, so Yan could make a move back, but Quag does just hold it around the outside and has got enough power and gets the position there. Good move by him as Carr is right behind Mackenzie. Mackenzie goes a little bit wide. Can Carr make it stick? No, but Florian Volker does make it stick on Ionescu behind. Moves up to 5th place, and now he's going to be right behind Carr and Mackenzie, who are battling fiercely coming into Maggots and Beckett's. So they're coming through the corner for the second time, I should say. Florian Volker's now already right on the back of them because they've been holding each other up. So Volker could have about 3 positions in about 5 corners, and Carr now on the inside of Mackenzie, coming down the back straight. But Florian Volker trying to get around the outside. He can't make it move stick. He's going to try and go around the outside, but that's never going to work, surely. And he doesn't make the move stick, although he's still behind Carr. He's close behind. Will he try and make a move? And the answer is no, he doesn't. And oh, there's a car over. Oh, there's a car over. There's a massive crash. And that is Miklos Gal. There's a huge accident on the third lap here. And there's a big accident. And oh, dear me. I saw Gal's car just flipping over, I think it was. Coming through the back straight. It's now Franco Gambra's spun. And he rejoins. I don't know if he was involved in it or not, but he is spun regardless. There's a car in the pits. I think Etienne Jones, I think it was in the pits. De Rosser is out as well. There's been a huge crash here. What has happened? And Miklos Galvan, oh, he made contact with the McLaren there of, I believe that was Franco Lopez, just before the pit entry there, and the debris is all over the track. So what happened to De Rosser? He actually just got passed by George Roque coming into the corner. As he comes through, there was all the debris, and oh, he hits the wing. He hits the wheel, sorry, and loses his front wing, and then goes into the wall, and that is De Rosser's race. And oh, he hits the other wall as well, and basically blocks the pit entry there. That is a major crash. So what happened to Franco Gamba? So he just avoided the debris, and what happened? And oh, he made contact with his teammate Robert Hunter, and he spun coming into the corner there. So we're going to have a look what happened to Etienne Jones, who was in the pit, so he must have got involved with what happened as well. And yes, he hit the debris and managed to... Did he just make it into the pits in time? And oh no, he didn't. He didn't make it into the pits in time. Well, he did make it in, but he's got no wheels to steer. So unfortunately for Etienne Jones, he is also out of the race. I couldn't quite tell if his car was there or not. We're looking at Evan Byrne. Did he get involved with what happened with the debris? And yes, he did. So he did do the same thing and go into the wall. And the answer is no. I think he actually got away with it. He actually managed to control his car going into the pits there. So good work there by Evan Byrne, managed to control the car very well. So we're going to have a look on board from Robert Hunter's point of view of the crash. And there was the debris just flying across the track, and there was Gamba's car. There was the contact, and Hunter went wide and lost a few positions as well because of that. So we're going to have a look from Franco Lopez's point of view, and there was the contact, and then Gal's car just flips over wildly and goes into the wall, and then that causes the chain reaction behind the debris going right in front of the racing line and causing all those retirements. So I think we had 3 cars out. We had Gal, Jones and De Rosser, I think 3 cars that were out, as we're still looking at this battle for 3rd place at the moment between Mackenzie, Carr, Volker and Roman Quark. So I don't know what's happened to Ionescu. Ionescu must have dropped behind here, and yes he has. So unnoticed by the cameras, as now Carr has got past Mackenzie coming into the corner there, and good move there by the British drivers. Volker desperately trying to make a move past Mackenzie coming through Megas and Beckers there, but you're never really going to make a move there. It's a tough place to overtake, as now we're looking coming on to the hangar straight for the 4th time, and now surely Quag is going to make a move on the inside of Mackenzie, and does he make it stick? He's just about on the inside. Has he made it stick? And I think he has. Yes, he has, and Volker's made his way through as well. So Mackenzie losing positions hand over fist at the moment, as Warner sets another fastest lap. So he really is showing the field who is the quickest driver, and that is absolutely him. But Mackenzie really struggling at the moment on that strategy. As we're looking now down towards the back of the field, we're looking at the Lotus of, I think that's David Greenwood, running in 11th place, and Mackenzie about to come under pressure from Ionescu soon if he's not careful. So this could turn really bad for him, as we're looking at Volker right behind Quag, who is right behind Carr. So we could have a big battle between the teammates here, as Greenwood has moved past Vadrina in 10th, and now the McLaren there, Franco Lopez, desperately trying to make a move coming into Maggots and Beckett's, but it's not going to happen. So Greenwood made the move coming through Copse, and managed to make it stick to get into 10th place, the last point spot. As we look on board from Florian Volker's point of view, coming down the hangar straight, and as he's coming through, there's Quag trying desperately to get past Gar, but he can't get past him, but he goes wide, and that's what allows Volker to get through. And now he's going to try and get Armagh Carr, but unfortunately coming into Vale, he can't quite do it there. As we're looking at Florian Volker coming down the back straight. He's right behind Carr, but now Quag is still right behind him. But that's not going to work for Volker. He's around the outside, and that's going to allow Quag to get back past him. And he does, but Quag gets past Carr as well. What a move by Roman Quag. He took full advantage of that. I don't know what Volker was thinking there. He just opened himself up to that, and Volker loses, can't get past Carr there coming through Vale and into Club. But that was a fantastic move by Rowan Quag. As we look at him coming through, just saw the gap there, and so thank you very much. Saw the gap past Volker, and Carr left actually a surprisingly large amount of room as well, although they are teammates and they probably couldn't have wanted to have collided. But we're looking at Armand Carr, who's coming into the pits for his first pit stop of the race, and let's see where he comes out on track. And into the pits he comes. And how much fuel they're going to put in will be interesting. I imagine the two-stop will probably be the best way of going in this race. I don't imagine that they would do him for a 3. I think that would be a mistake. 17 laps, so that's not that many, but I imagine it will be a 2. But we'll see what happens as Carr comes out of the pits. He's going to drop quite far down the field, because I think the field is actually fairly closely bunched. As we look at Carr coming out of the pit, he comes out in P15, so he comes out quite far down the field. Oliver Glazebrook is in the pits for his first pit stop of the race for McLaren, and in he comes, and out of the pit stop he comes. I think that's a 9.8 second stop there, so a fairly quick stop I would say, probably for him. As we look at Quag there running in P3, there's Volker a bit behind there in P4. As we look at Ionescu, who is right behind the Mercedes of Mackenzie. As we look at them coming onto the old pit straight, heading towards Cops for the 12th time of asking. So they come through, Ionescu closing up to Mackenzie, who clearly must be on a one-stop strategy. Must be the reason why he's so slow, as Will Neller comes in for his first pit stop of the race. And let's see where he comes out onto the track. So how much fuel are they going to put in? What's that? 30 laps of fuel. Wow, that is a huge amount of fuel that they are putting into his car there. So clearly Mercedes here are going for the 2-stop. That's the only way you can imagine they're going about it. As we look at Roman Quag coming in for his first stop of the race as well, 28 laps, so looks like those two are on similar strategies. So let's see where Quag comes out onto the track. So it's quite a long stop though, actually, 12.5 seconds that is. But so Quag and Neller are on similar strategies. It'll be interesting to see what strategy that Joseph Willows is on up front, because he is the one that Neller is mainly battling. As we have a yellow flag out somewhere, that is, I think, around about, I think that's the loop, and there's a car spun. That's Jay McKenzie who's spun. Jay McKenzie in the Mercedes has spun, coming into the loop there, and wow, he's lost a huge number of positions. This is going to badly affect him. Come the end of the race, he's having to wait for all these cars to come through here, and now McKenzie does eventually rejoin. As we can see what happened, did he have contact? Because he had Ionescu who was close behind him, but was that the reason why he spun? And no, he just made the mistake on his own. There was Ionescu, I don't think was even close to him, so that was an unforced error there by Jay McKenzie, who spins and loses a huge amount of positions down the field. So it's not good for him as well with regards to the title race, because it's mainly looking like a title race between Neller and Volker at the moment. Those are the ones that are really going at it. McKenzie needs a good result if he wants to stay with these two. So looking at the Toro Rosso of Robert Hunter, currently running in 10th place behind Franco Gamba, or at least he was in front of Franco Gamba until, as we can see on the replay, Franco Gamba goes past him on the hanger straight there quite easily as well. So he gets past Robert Hunter and moves up into 9th position. As we look at Florian Volker coming in to the pits for his first pit stop of the race for Ferrari. So into the pits he comes. 17 laps, that's not a huge amount of fuel actually for Volker. So, I mean, could he be on the same strategy as who is it? Armand Carr? Could it be the same one as him? We don't know, so we'll find out really later on in the race. But that is a 10.3 second stop, so quite slow for Volker as he comes out of the pits. And let's see where he comes out on track. He comes out in P9, so he comes out just inside of the points. David Greenwood is into the pits for Lotus. Let's see where he comes back on track, and actually Franco Lopez is in. I think, did I see Franco Gamba? I think, or was that just Franco Lopez? It's probably just my eyes deceiving me, but that's a long stop there for David Greenwood, and it was actually, I was right, Franco Gamba is in the pits as well as Franco Lopez, but Franco Gamba has to wait for a car to go by there. He has to wait for Matthias Terwick to go into his pit box. As we look at the Ferrari, I believe this is of Volker trying to get past the Force India here, coming through Cops, heading towards Magnussen Beckerson. We've got another yellow flag out somewhere. I don't know where that is. And oh, there's a car. I think there's a car on fire there, and that is Franco Lopez, whose engine, the Honda engine, has gone up in smoke. I don't remember ever hearing that before, but his engine has gone up in smoke, and that is the end to his race. So he had a lot of fuel in his car, so he having just made a stop. So maybe they put too much fuel in, it might have ignited the engine. But yeah, the engine problem happened just after you came round Stowe, and unfortunately the engine blew. As you could see, the smoke came out, and that was the end to Franco Lopez's race. And then actually it started catching fire, so that was quite scary there for Franco Lopez. So he has to pull off to the side of the track, because obviously that is very, very dangerous indeed. And there is his car off the track there. Apologies as well for the some of the sniffing, guys. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling too well at the moment, but yeah, unfortunately Franco Lopez will not be feeling much better with his car up in smoke. So particularly on a hot day like this, unusually hot day for the British Grand Prix, it's quite rare that you go a race without it actually raining, but there you go. We have to have something different in the OCs. We're looking at Volker stuck behind the Force India still on those pressure tyres. He needs to get past the Force India as soon as possible. With the best thing, as we're looking at Franco Gamba here, who's making a move on the inside of Oliver Glazebrook. And is he going to make a move past Roberto Gamba as well? Yes, he does. That's a great move there by Franco Gamba, and he makes two positions in one corner. That's always a good overtaking spot coming into Stowe. As we look at Joseph Willis, who now is in for his first pit stop. 17 laps of fuel, so he's. I think he's going to definitely go for the 2 stop, but he's obviously gone longer on his first stint. Let's see where he comes out on track. Actually, I'd be interested to see if he comes out ahead or behind Nella, but I would imagine he'd probably come out behind Nella, and yes, he has. So there goes Nella past back into the lead. So Willows will be on pressure tyres, and oh, hang on, as Willows actually nearly gets overtaken by some lap traffic there. He would not have been happy. And oh no, that wasn't lap traffic. That was actually Ionescu. So he nearly got overtaken by Ionescu, and that would have definitely affected his race, Willows. But he's just kept ahead of him by the slimmest of margins, as George Roger's in the pits for Lotus. 14 laps of fuel. Out of the pits he comes, 8.9 seconds that is. And let's see where he comes back out on the track. He started last, Rick. It was a poor qualifying by him. He's definitely been outshone by his teammate David Greenwood this season. As we look at the 2 Williams who are right behind the Toro Rosso here, coming onto the back straight. As we're looking at Carr trying to make a move past Quag. He can't quite do it yet, as Quag is trying to make a move on the inside of the Toro Rosso, but now he can't make it stick. They're still stuck behind him. I think this is Robert Hunter, who I don't believe has actually made a stop yet. So there's a car going into the pits ahead, and that is actually Florian Volker, who's coming to the pits. He just pitted not too long ago. So, and oh, Florian Volker has got a problem, and Florian Volker has got an issue here. And wow, so what has happened to him? So he was running in 6th place, and he still had quite a few laps until he was pitting. But what has happened to Volker? He suffered a failure of some sorts. And fortunately, it was just before he was about to go into the pits anyway, so actually that worked out quite well for him. So it was almost like it was made to happen, really. But he does come into the pits on this lap, but that will not do Volker's race any favours. So how much more fuel will they put in? 16 more laps, so obviously he'll still be on, well, he'll be on the 2 stop. Technically, obviously it will be 3 because of that stop, but I'd be interested because he didn't actually have that many laps of fuel left. So I think he only had about 10. So I don't know if he would have gone actually with the 3 stop, but I think as they added the slight bit more fuel in, I think that he'll probably be going for the for 1 more stop. But I think he could have been going for the 3. Well, he is still technically going for the 3, but he would have been going. He's now, I think, doing what is the 2 stop. As we look Adamo car in the pits for Williams for his second stop. He'll be doing the 3, so don't know if this is exactly going to work out particularly well for Carr. It depends. I mean, the Williams has looked good on pace, but I don't know if the 3-stop strategy is the right way to go about here. I'm not entirely convinced, I'll be honest. But Carr comes out of the pits in P13. He does come out in some clear air, so he has some time to go. But I think he'll have to pass quite a few cars though, because I mean, a lot of them aren't going to be pitting for at least another 10 laps or so. So we shall see anyway. But there we go. As we look at Joseph Willows, I should say, coming through into Stowe. As we look at Will Nella right now in the lead, with Joseph Willows behind him in second. Willows isn't. I don't think he's exactly closing on Nella at the moment. I don't think these tyres actually have that much wear on them, so I don't think they're making a huge amount of difference at the moment. So as we're looking at Nella coming through the loop for the 27th time, we're about, actually, I think just about the halfway point of this race, actually. As we're looking at Quag and Hunter battling, but Hunter actually now does go into the pits for, I believe, his first pit stop. So the interesting thing is, will he go to the end of the race? I mean, I suppose he could, but we'll find out really. So he pits, and how much fuel are they going to put in? And wow, yes, he is. He is going to go to the end of the race. So there we go. So this is going to be a very interesting strategy from Toro Rosso. So let's see actually if it works out for Hunter. At the moment, it doesn't look like the tyres wear that much. So I suppose actually this could work out, I think, possibly for Hunter. I'm not sure. I don't know, but we shall see. As he comes out the pits, it's a long stop though. He comes out in P13, and he does come out in clear air. So he just needs to make sure he does preserve the tyres through to the end. So looking at Towick running in P17, there's Nella right now running in the lead. Willows in second. And it looks like it's going to be an interesting battle between those two before the end. As we look at Towick running in 16, Oliver Glazebrook comes in for another stop for McLaren. Couldn't quite tell if he'd gone to the end or not. Ionescu comes in. Will he go to the end? The answer is yes, he does. He will go to the end on that set of fuel. So, so it's interesting actually. Really, what's happened. So let's see how well Ionescu can do. It's a long stop. He has to actually wait for a car to come in. He has to wait for, that was the Force India of Ricciani had to wait for, so that's going to delay him a little bit. Does he go to the end, Ricciani? Yes, he does. And let's see where he comes back out on track. So a few cars that are going to be doing long stints at the end, and I think it could work for them, but it depends how well they can preserve their tyres. As Ionescu does just come out behind Mackenzie, which he'll be probably a little bit annoyed about, to be honest, as we look at Volker right behind the Lotus of David Greenwood coming through into the loop as Ricciani comes out in P10. Does he comes out just ahead of the Toro Rosso in the last point spots. Here is Volker right behind the Lotus of David Greenwood, and actually he's going to be the Lotus sandwich because George Roke is actually behind him as well. Roke is actually having quite a good race at the moment, actually, having started in last position as Volker actually does make the move on David Greenwood, and oh, David Greenwood spins coming through the corner there. He spins and loses control of the car, now does rejoin, but he's lost a lot of time. And oh, hang on, he's come out right in the middle of a battle there. Oh no, oh, that was not great drive for Greenwood there. He comes out right in the middle of a battle between Franco Gamba and I think that was Veteran Vadrina. So Greenwood got passed by Volker, but then he went way too wide, lost control coming through Copse and spun, so that allowed Roke through as well. And then he does rejoin because there was a big gap behind them, but he was rejoined quite slowly, and then he had also the cars behind him. So you had Franco Gamba, who is battling, trying to get past the Force India of Veteran Vadrina. Oh, actually, hang on, did he actually pass Vadrina under yellow flags? That could be very interesting indeed. And oh, I don't know. I don't think he actually passed him. I think they actually might have. Oh, that was so close to contact there, Frank Gamba with David Greenwood, but he did make it stick past Vadrina, and I think he will get away with it, because I think the yellow flags actually disappeared at the time he came to Greenwood. So I think Franco Gamba is a very, very lucky man as car makes his way past the Force India of Vadrina, and now Franco Gamba desperately trying to get past David Greenwood in front of him. He can't make it stick yet, But that was good racing there. Close. It could have been worse, but could have had a bad collision there. But he does make it stick. And actually, it was Gamma getting past Rick Yan. Actually, I should say. I apologise. Not Veteran Vegeta, who's at the field. As we look at George Roke coming in for a pit stop, I imagine he'll go to the end, and the answer is yes, he does. David Greenwood still going out on track. He'll be pitting a little bit later on. Roke has had a fairly solid race, having started last, but he's been outshone by far by his teammate David Greenwood this season, as Franco Gamba is in the pits as well for Toro Rosso. And he makes the stop. 10.9, not particularly quick, but not that slow anyway. And let's see where Franco Gamba comes back out onto the track. Gamba's made some, he's done well in the last couple of races. He scored points last time out in Austria, finished P9. And he's made some good overtaking, and he does come up behind the Sauber there, something which I don't think he'll be particularly happy about. Comes up behind the Sauber of Evan Byrne. As we look at Rick Yan right now in 10th place, he's really struggling at the moment on the set of tyres he's on. As Ionescu coming close to the back of McKenzie again. He's not actually closing up really, Ionescu, from the pits. So these tyres actually are not having really that much of an effect, I would have to say. As we look at the Williams coming through into the loop for the first time, right behind. Was that a Lotus? No, it's a Force India, sorry. As Jay McKenzie is actually in the pits for his stop of the race, his last stop. And in he comes. Actually, McKenzie I think has been on the one stop, hasn't he? So into the pits he comes, and where does he come out onto the track? It's a 10.9 again. It seems to be everyone's lucky pit stop number, I guess. McKenzie comes out. It looks like he's going to come out just inside of the points. And let's see as he comes out onto the track. 10.9. And he comes out, looks like just inside the points in P10. So there we are. So he comes out in P10. And there we go, comes up just ahead of the Toro Rosso of Robert Hunter, who's obviously pitted a few laps ago. As you look at Quag, desperately trying to get past Veteran Regina coming into Maggots and Beckett, but unfortunately he's never really going to make the move stick there. It's difficult to overtake there, as I can see Roberto Gamba is in the pits for his last stop of the race. As we look at the Williams of Card trying desperately to get past him. He can't make it stick. Yeah, he's not close enough coming through into Stowe, but he won't have to worry now, as actually Veteran Regina does come into the pits for his last stop of the race. So there we go. That is a battle that he didn't need to have, as Veteran Regina comes in for his final stop of the race for Force India. He's had a decent race, I think, Regina. He's kept himself out of trouble, and yeah, I think he's done very well so far. Pits puts enough fuel in to last him to the end, 20 laps of fuel, which will last him enough to the end of the Grand Prix. And out of the pits he comes, and let's see where he comes back out onto the track. There's still a few cars that will be pitting in a few laps' time. I think the two leaders, actually, Willis and Nella, will be pitting as well fairly soon. It'll be interesting battle. We haven't actually seen what's happened between those two, but Willis wasn't, I don't know if he was closing up to Nella or not. Nella, I think, has been fairly comfortable in this race so far. As we look at the order, there's Quag in third. So at the moment, Nella in first, Willis second, Quag third, Ionescu in fourth, Florian Volker in fifth. As we look at all the cars coming through, there's Frank Gamba in 14th. As actually Joseph Willis actually does come in now for his final stop of the Grand Prix. So now the big question is, when is Nella going to stop? And well, the question is, will Willis try and do the undercut over Will and Nella to try and win this race? It looks like it's going to be a British winner nonetheless, which will delight the home crowd. But which one of them is going to win it is going to be the big question. As Willis comes out, 10.5 second stop. As Matthias Terwick is in for Marussia as well. And Willows does come back out onto the track. Will he come out actually behind any traffic? We should see. So he comes out in P2. So no, it looks like Willows will not have any traffic in front of him, as Florian Volker does come in for his final stop of the race. As we have a yellow flag out. That is at Stowe, I think it is. Yep. And there's a yellow flag out, and I don't know what's happened, but the yellow flag has disappeared. And something has happened. I'm not sure what. As we're looking, what happened here? So we're on board. We're looking at the battle between Rick Yan and Jay McKenzie, as McKenzie is on the inside, and oh, they make contact. They make contact. McKenzie goes wide, and does get back onto the track, and I think Rick Yan must have spun because he didn't rejoin very quickly. So let's have a look at what happened from his POV as we're coming through. So Rick Yan coming through the corner. Yep, there was contact, and Rick Yan spins. It's lucky that we've had some spectacular crashes at Stowe over the years, but Rick Yan just spins and doesn't lose any parts of his car. His car doesn't disintegrate, because we've had crashes before where cars have literally flipped over and gone into the wall. We've had a few scary crashes of them over the years, but this wasn't a huge one, but it will have ramifications for Rick Yan and for Mackenzie as well. It's going to affect his race, as we're looking at George Roke, who actually goes past Rick Yan after he rejoined. So it's a good move there by Roke. So Rick Yan got going a little bit slow there, and Roke took advantage of that, as we're looking at the Williams of Quag coming in for his final stop of the race. So that will promote, I think it is Robert Ionescu, up into the podium positions, up into third place. So I'll be pretty happy with that. Ionescu's been, I mean, to describe his season, he's not won, but he's been definitely very, very consistent. That is for sure. So he's done very well this season. Ionescu is obviously going to be interesting now because sign-ups for next season will be coming very soon. So it'll be interesting to see which drivers will go where. So it's going to be very interesting indeed as we look at David Greenwood coming in for a final stop for Lotus. Greenwood has had an okay race, I guess. Nothing really spectacular compared to what he's considering the fact he's got 2 podiums this season. He comes out of the pits, fairly quick stop. I think that's 8.4, and let's see where he comes back out onto the track. He comes out just outside of the points, but I think there will be some cars that will be pitting. There's actually Will Neller is pitting this lap, and so is Evan Byrne, but the most important thing is Will Neller will be pitting. So the question is, will he still come out ahead of Joseph Willers? We don't know where Joseph Willers has come out on the track, and I'm not sure what the gap was before, but I don't think Willers was particularly close to Neller, so I would imagine that Neller will still come out in front, but we shall see. Here's quite a quick stop as well, actually, to be fair to the Mercedes crew, as Neller now comes out of the pits. And where is Willows? I don't think he's coming around the corner yet, and so it looks like Will Neller will come out still in the lead. And where is Willows? And Willows just coming around the first corner now, so Neller has got frankly, an even bigger lead than he had before he came into the pits. So that has worked out very, very well for him indeed. So it looks like Neller is set to be on course for victory at the moment. He's looking pretty good out front. I don't see Willows closing up on him now, with and Neller with the fresher tyres as well. He's looked imperious today, as Benjamin Trina right now running in a very impressive P5 4-Force India at the moment. So good race by him as well, as he comes through the first few cars into the loop, as we've only got now just about 11 laps to go of this race. So as we look at Carr running coming into the pits for his final stop, he'll probably be disappointed that he'll be pitting this late. I don't think the 3-stop has worked out very well for him at all, as he comes out the pits, 9.3 seconds stop. And let's see where he comes back up the track, but it looks like he's going to come out outside the points. So unfortunately for Williams, the strategy for Carr, the strategy for Quag, I should say, worked out very well for him, but for Carr, it's not worked out at all, really. I mean, that's the only way of putting it. It's not worked out very well. So unfortunately for Carr, he's not going to get a very good result today, which looked very promising for both cars. But Quag is running in P4 at the moment, and with fresher tyres, I wonder if he can actually get up to the back of Robert Ionescu before the end. And oh, there's a car off. There's a big spin, and oh my word, that's a huge accident. And that is Mateus Toei. That is a huge crash there. The car just absolutely disintegrated as it went into the wall there. That was a pretty huge crash. My goodness me. Wow. So he spun off by himself. There was no one around him, so it was a mistake of Turwig's own making. He was running basically, I think, in last place anyway, but as he came down the back straight, and he just goes wide, spins round, and then boom, that was a pretty hefty impact into the wall there. That was a big crash for Mateus Toei coming through Brooklands before coming into Luffield there. But wow, that is his race done and dusted, as we're looking at Oliver Glazebrook coming in for his final stop of the race. I don't really see him being able to recover to get any points at the moment, unless he has, well, quite frankly, a miracle. With only 9 laps to go, he needs several cars, to be honest, to retire on the spot for him to have any chance of points. But he is now running in effectively last at the moment. I don't know, did he? I don't think his car's been on the pace day, because I don't think he got involved in any of the incidents early on, I don't believe, so I'm not entirely sure what's happened to Glazebrook this race, to be brutally honest. I really don't know, but we're looking at Mackenzie right now running in 7th place for a lonely race with George Rogue. I have to say, very impressive race by him, as we're looking actually at a battle between David Greenwood and Rick Yan for 10th place. Greenwood on the fresher tyres, getting past Yan, who obviously had that collision with Mackenzie. It's really badly affected him, and Greenwood does make the move stick for 10th place. But yeah, I have to say, George Rogue up to 9th place from, well, last on the grid, so that's very impressive for him. As we can see here, this is the battle for 3rd position. So Quag has caught up to Ionescu before the end. I was wondering, because the gap seemed, I think, about 5 seconds when we last saw it a few laps ago, but Quag has closed up and has now taken the podium and has now taken 3rd place of Ionescu. But Ionescu is going to try and fight back here. He's not going to be able to make the move through Megas and Beckett, but if he stays close enough, he could have the slipstream coming onto the hangar straight and could still make a move coming into Stowe. As Ionescu, is he close enough in the slipstream? He still is in the slipstream. He could try and make a move back here. Will he try and make a move? No, he can't. He's just not quite close enough to make the move. So Quag takes 3rd place, and he could keep it, but Ionescu is definitely not going to give this up easily. But Quag actually, I just realised, up 8 positions, so he's up from 11th on the grid to 3rd place. So a great race by him. Benjamin Jr. up 5 places as well to 5th. There's another yellow flag out, and there's a car off, I think. And that is Oliver Glazebrook, who's had a pretty dreadful race, to be honest with you, and it's not going to get any better for him. And it looks like Roberto Gamba has been involved with him as well, as he's rejoined just ahead. So, and oh, yep, there it was. There was the contact. Glazebrook going into the back of Roberto Gamba there. I was lucky there wasn't actually any damage there between the two of them. Glazebrook making a bit of a hash of actually rejoining, and that was because actually the Force India of Madrina was lapping them, and then Gamble slowed down quite a bit. But I think that caught Glazebrook unawares, so that's the reason why I think that happened there. So I think it's a bit unfortunate, but unfortunately for both those two, it's not been a good race. Roberto Gamble, one of I think only 2 drivers who's actually yet to score a point so far this season. So it's not been a great season for him, but here we are on the final lap, and we are looking at your race leader, Will Neller. This is the race that he precisely needed, with Florian Volker, his main title rival, suffering issues. And he took the lead at the start from the Ferrari, Joseph Willis, and he's never really looked back, to be honest. He's looked very, very comfortable indeed at the front of the field, as he now laps the Williams of our car, and I bet that's not what Carr really wanted, considering the fact that well, earlier on in the race he was running in the top 5, so he would not be too happy with that at all. But for Will Neller, he's finished I think second 4 times this season, and I think that pretty much every time he's actually finished, he has finished on the podium, and he will continue this run as he comes through Magus and Beckett's for the final time. And he's coming onto the hangar straight for the last time. But for Will Neller, he has dominated this race, took the lead at the start from Joseph Willis, and he has never looked back. And he will close the gap on Florian Volker, as it looks set to be a fascinating title battle. Will Neller, who desperately will want his first ever OC title. He's never won an OC title. He's been so close so many times. But Will Neller comes round the final couple of corners. He comes onto the front straight, and Will Neller wins the British Grand Prix in front of his home crowd. Congratulations to him. What a race it is by him. He wins with Rick Yan 11th, Carr in 12th, and Frank Gavin just in 13th. And there is Joseph Willows, who will come across the line in P2. So great news for the British crowd. It will be a British 1-2. It won't be a British 1-2-3, but a 1-2 will do nonetheless, as Willows comes round and across the line in 2nd place. As we now look at the rest, you got Evan Byrne, 14th, got involved obviously on the instant first lap. Rowan Quag, a good race by him. He will come across the line in 3rd position for Williams. He'll definitely be very happy with that, I think. Obviously closed up and overtook Ionescu just before the end as well, so he'll definitely be happy with what he's with how he's performed. So he comes across the line in 3rd. Ionescu 4th, another 4th position. I think that's his fourth position seat, if I'm not mistaken. Benjamin Trina, a good result by him. 5th place for Force India. Florian Volker is set to come across the line in 6th place. Not a great race by him, but he'll still take some good points nonetheless. But Will Neller will definitely close on him in the title race. Jay McKenzie, not a good race on that one-stop strategy. Finishes down in 7th. Roberto Gamma in 15th, goes up behind in 16th. And Robert Hunter set to come across the line in 8th position. So that one stop for him actually did work out well in the end. So I guess he can probably be pretty happy with 8th place, as he comes now across the line and finishes in 8th. But wow, what a race as well, actually, by George Roke, who comes across the line in 9th from last on the grid. 10th will be his teammate David Greenwood, and Barty's Kloss comes across the line in last position with the fastest lap of the race being set by Will Neller. But here are the full race results of the British Grand Prix, with Will Neller winning, with Joseph Willis in 2nd, Romain Quarg 3rd, Robert Inescu in 4th, Frederick June in 5th, Florian Volker 6th, Jamie McKenzie in 7th, Robert Hunter 8th, George Rowe 9th, and David Greenwood the last point scorer in 10th, and also the last one of the lead lap. With Rick Yan finishing a lap down in 11th after that collision that he had with Jamie McKenzie. In 12th place, I should say, is Armand Carr, 13th Franco Gamba, 14th Evan Byrne, 15th Roberto Gamba, 16th Oliver Glazebrook, and Bartius Kloss last in 17th position. With the following drivers retiring: Mateus Turwick, Franco Lopez, Etienne Jones, Kirosa Mederosa, and Miklos Gal. So now we are going to take a look at the drivers and constructor standings for after the British Grand Prix. Florian still leads, but his lead to Will Neller is down 153 points to 127, and look at that gap to Jamie McKenzie. 66 points it is to Will Neller in 2nd with 127. That's a huge gap, with Inescu in 4th, not too far behind now. Willows moves up to 5th ahead of Quarg, actually. As we look at the rest of the order, Veteran good result for him, moves ahead of Hunter into 13th, Evan Byrne 14th, Mateus Turwick 15th, Glazebrook 16th, DeRosa 17th, Jones 18th, Roke 19th, Franco Gamba 20th with Roberto Gamba, and Bartius Kloss, the only 2 drivers this season who are yet to score a point in this championship. So now in the constructor standings, Ferrari lead but with 222 points, just ahead of Mercedes though, who are only 7 points behind them, with Red Bull nearly 100 points behind them in 3rd, Williams in 4th, Force India 5th, Lotus in 6th, McLaren 7th, Toro Rosso 8th, Marussia 9th, Sauber in 10th, and Haas currently in last position with 6 points. So there you go, that has been the British Grand Prix. That was a pretty decent race, I think I'd have to say. Hope you guys enjoyed. I apologise for my voice again, guys. I'm not feeling too well at the moment. But don't forget to, as usual, vote for your driver today and give the race a rating out of 10, guys. Thanks for watching, and we will see you for the next round, the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring for the halfway point of the season. Thanks for watching, everyone.